Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I'm your lovely host, Wes Fox, and today's topic is more general. Today, I want to talk about what I kind of see as the beginning of change in the industry regarding sci-fi and pop culture type properties. I feel like they have kind of run out of what to pull from because they haven't created anything new for so long that now they're kind of strip mining and reusing the same material over and over again. And I feel like we're kind of hitting this critical mass and possibly like end part of all these different, genres and stuff. Because you're seeing all these little changes and stuff. The MCU had a bunch of shows they announced about a year ago, and then, or at the end of Endgame, about a year ago then. And you're already seeing that kind of change and shift. And these aren't always bad changes or shifts. Sometimes they're necessary. But I think a lot of these things were so far planned out in the sense of, we gotta do this, do this. And, I think a lot of times it's blamed as oversaturation in the market for when something fails. But sometimes there is oversaturation in the market. And I'm not sure if we hit that point yet, but I do feel like we've hit this point where everything is kind of turning into the same show, the same thing. You're seeing the decline of shows like Doctor Who. You're seeing the decline of Star Trek. They have the new show coming out here soon, which I think is going to not do as well as they hope. Especially if they play as heavy into the politics as it seems that they plan on doing. You have, the Star Wars shows or movies that they're like, we're going to do a Obi-Wan movie. We're going to do all these different movies. And they're just kind of spitballing things out there, I feel like. And then like, maybe not. So who knows what movie they're making next or what the plan is? We're not going to do Old Republic. We're going to do the High Republic. And to me, it's like, why keep going back? Go forward. Don't go back. But who knows if that's actually going to be the plan. And I can see them slowly but surely kind of just recycling, going back, recycling, going, okay, we can hit again. Kind of throwing things against the wall continuously in the hopes that something stands out to people or to the people producing and that kind of stuff standing out. But what kind of makes me, I want to see new properties used, but at the same time, I don't want them touching properties. There's properties that I personally would love to see done justice to. Two off the top of my head would be Samurai Jack. I would love to see either a movie or two-part movie, maybe in a trilogy. It's hard to say. It has to be broken down nicely. But a two-part, three-part movie of his story would be, I think, amazing. And the other one that I would love to see would be Trigun, the anime series. And I'd love to see that brought to live action. Be pretty amazing with the right actors and everything. But at the same time, at this time, I don't want to see those movies, TV shows, be made in movies or movies and books made into it. Because I feel like, they're going to do what they did with, we have possibly I don't know if it's possible. I think it's confirmed now. But not Game of Thrones, sorry. Well, that's another show that actually goes into this. They were going to do another spinoff, and that's kind of dead. And there was another spinoff, and that's probably going to die. And then you have the Lord of the Rings show they want to do. And I'm like, do we want to read Lord of the Rings show? I don't really want a Lord of the Rings show. We have 3 amazing movies. We have 3, in my opinion, medium movies. That's generous in my opinion. They're not bad, but they're not like unwatchable, but they're definitely not something that I'm like, that's amazing, versus the original trilogy of Lord of the Rings, which I think is some of the best movies ever made, especially translation wise. I think they're the gold standard of taking from one medium to the other. So what I feel like at this moment, we have this kind of perfect storm of huge amounts of pop culture / geekdom, nerdom. We have the full spectrum. You have video game movies coming out. You have sci-fi movies coming out and TV shows coming out. You have comic book video games and movies coming out. You have the fantasy world stuff coming out. And because The Witcher, that came out, which I thought was actually really good. Actually, I was pretty impressed with that show. I haven't played the game. I actually own the game. I need to play the game now and to see how they drew from that material and the books and stuff. But, there's so many different properties now that I feel like I know they're doing, another one, the anime one. And when I say it kind of worries me, is they have the Cowboy Bebop show coming out on Netflix, or they're working on it supposedly. And so you have all these properties and they're just like sucking that space dry. And I don't know if they're bringing anything new to it at the same time. So to me, that's kind of the concern with that. And I don't know if we're going to see things improve with that. Takes, I don't know if the people that are working on these projects have passion for them, or they really care about the project. Like the Trigun one, like I was brought up a little earlier, is one that I would be, if I had the money, I would love to be able to go here. I want to find a good writer, and then be like, let's take the original anime, let's get the manga, let's spend a month researching this, let's pull every detail we possibly can, let's go find the author and talk to him about the material, and take everything we possibly can to bring that to life in the best possible way. Because whoever I want to work with would be someone who also loved the material, and not just someone who's like, oh, just a paycheck. And I think that's what happens a lot of these materials is, and I get it, everyone wants to work. You want to work, especially in this business. You got to work. So sometimes you take projects you have no passion for. I've worked on projects I had no passion for, but you would try to do your best still. But when you're in these really big franchises with huge amounts of history, huge amounts of fandom, and you don't put, 1000%, or you don't just respect it on the same level, it's really hard for it to be created in the same way. And I think that is why you're seeing some of these franchises kind of fall apart. You look at some of these older ones, Farscape, it'd be a cool show to see somewhere, another season of that, or go somewhere else, or a future season after events happen. But at the same time, like, I don't want to see that because I've already seen where that show goes, and I don't know if I want to see that storyline because I don't know if it goes anywhere that's worthy. So it has to go somewhere worthy. And I don't know if any material right now that's being used has a worthy base to go somewhere. I wish that I could be like, oh, that's so amazing. And I hope that as these changes start happening in these shows, like I said, you see this possible cancellation, possible restart, possible reboot, new reboot, old reboot, new season, prequel, sequel. There's just so many levels of this stuff that I'm wondering, okay, are we starting to hit the point where they don't actually know where to go for real? And maybe we're going to start seeing some change in direction, something new. I think that's the thing that I love to see. Like, there's the movie, if you haven't seen it, you might have heard of it, Valerian, the City of 1,000 Planets. It was new. It's not a good movie, unfortunately. I had high hopes for it because it was privately funded. It was by the same guy who directed this, The Fifth Element. And so I had a lot of really high, hopeful expectations for the movie. He had dozens of CGI artists work on all the different aliens, so all the alien species would feel really different. He did a lot of really cool stuff. I think the biggest thing that they did wrong was, I don't think the cast really fit the roles. The dialogue just wasn't very strong. And then a lot of the situations were silly. There were some really cool concepts in it that felt really sci-fi, and I haven't really seen used in anywhere else. The closest would be something like Doctor Who in the kind of the Tennant Matt Smith era, where they kind of have unique powers, they're interdimensional type stuff they're dealing with. But that's a show, like, it was a new concept. Yeah, it's based on an older French property, but at least it was a new concept in the sense of movie media. And I feel like that's something that's missing right now, is that there's nothing really new pushing the boundaries of sci-fi. Something that's like scale-wise. Like, to me, if you haven't seen The Rise of Skywalker, that's a small movie. Like, even if you like the movie, scale-wise, it's just kind of a small movie to me. Like, it doesn't have that kind of scope that kind of impresses you in the movie. It makes you feel like it's a huge, big movie. And I don't know why that is, because there's so many things out there that can draw from. If you haven't seen them, look for the KOTOR, or sorry, not KOTOR. Well, it's Knights of the Old Republic, MM multiplayer online game that came out like 2008, 10, around then. But they did all these like opening trailers. I think you can find them on YouTube, and they're like, I'll try to remember to put them in the description and link to it. But they put in these cinematic trailers for this game, and they were amazing. There's about 25, 30 minutes, I think, total of it. And the action sequences and the scale and the scope of those battles in it are superior to every single battle combined times 2, times 10 in the new trilogy of Disney movies. There's nothing like them. Even in the prequels. So like the scope that they were able to put together for the Star Wars universe, this feel of a big universe, there was nothing like it. And so I feel like with this world of the CGI that's so impressive nowadays, And these movies have huge budgets. I don't know. I don't understand why they're not putting the time into the script, into the world building, into creating something really spectacular that will draw your audience in. They'll make them feel like part of the action. And that's where I hope that maybe in this new change, you'll start having more of that. Take risks on the stories. Don't just put politics in it. Take story risks. Make the universe big. Make it crazy. Make it weird. That's one of the things that Doctor Who, the older Doctor Who series, I'd say like series, especially like series 3, 4, and 5, and maybe 6, really did cool concepts, really cool ideas, things that made you think. Were they perfect? No. But they were on TV show budgets. Now, like I said, put it in a movie budget with $100 million and blow my mind with something creative and something thought-provoking. That's where I want something that actually makes you go, Because I think the last movie that personally that I saw that made me go, that's thought-provoking was actually Inception, Christopher Nolan's movie, with all the, the dreaming and the in their dreams. I thought those was a really cool concept, and it was like a kind of a high concept. And I haven't seen a movie in a long time. I mean, I know there's smaller movies, but like a big movie, a big sci-fi finale, something scaling that you're like, like I said, that makes you excited when you're watching it. This blows your mind. And maybe my expectations are too high now. Maybe that just doesn't exist anymore. But I don't believe that, because I've seen cartoons, anime that have sequences or concepts or ideas that go, oh my goodness, that's amazing. And there's certain shows that won't translate to the big screen. They're just ideas, like Kill la Kill is one of my favorite anime shows. But that is one that, unless I see it to believe it, that translates to live action, I don't think it ever will be a good live action show. I mean, maybe someday someone's going to prove me wrong, but that'd be an example of a show that'd be like, you know what? Here's some money. If someone has a passion about it, says, I can do this. Be like, okay, shoot me 5 minutes of a movie, like the opening scene, and show me what you can do with this. Because just the opening scene of the anime would be something that could be like, okay, maybe there's some potential here for a live action show or whatnot. And that show only gets crazier and crazier. It is, like Gurren Lagann, that show gets just huge throughout the scope of it. So I feel like I want to see that in a live action movie of something new. Again, that's the other thing. I like to see something new ideas, not the same story beat, the guy and the girl, and then they get in a fight in the third act, and because she didn't understand or he didn't understand, or, it's the same old story, and it gets old because it's so predictable and they're not trying to push it past it. I mean, and those parts can be part of it, but it doesn't need the main focus. And unfortunately, that seems to be what happens now. And so you end up with this really stale material. And I feel like that's why, the wrap of this whole thing is, I feel like we're in a time for change. I think there's ripe for change. Maybe the fruit will rot on the vine and we'll never get that change. But I feel like there's a time for now where we can get some new material, hopefully. As these franchises continue to fail, they can't keep that have compressed the amount of time between rebooting franchises. It used to be like, oh, every 20 years, and then it was like every 10 years, and now you're getting reboots every 5 years of some of these franchises. And you're like, okay, you can only reboot so many franchises so fast and so soon until they are completely dead. And I think that we're hitting a point in a lot of these ones, and they're getting really close to that point where they're unusable anymore. So I'm interested to see where in the long term that goes and what becomes of all these things. And so I'm hoping that as they, I don't want them to die permanently, but maybe put them on hiatus for a little while. Like Doctor Who, we can put that away for a few years. Stargate, I don't want to see it come out here in 2025. Let's talk about the show. But until then, I feel like we're stuck in a place where we're in limbo. It's kind of sci-fi limbo. Nothing's new. I mean, I remember like Sci-Fi Channel used to be like the channel I'd watch. And now I don't think there's been a new sci-fi show. I've heard The Expanse, I believe it's called, is good, but I haven't watched it myself. But so I can't speak of it, but just, people I seem to have respect for watching on some of their channels. I go neurotic and stuff that they have watched and talk about a lot. I just haven't seen it. But my internal being when it comes to a lot of this stuff is, it just makes me cringe. It's like kind of like that Stargate universe where it's just like, drama. Like, man, I miss the adventure. I miss the stuff that made you go, oh my gosh, that's so exciting and so cool. But that's my ramblings for today. Hopefully you enjoyed. Continue to be new more content. Have some more reviews coming out for some stuff. I just went and saw Weathering with You. That was a really cool movie. So I have a full review coming out here soon, and some other anime shows I like, and some recommendations for shows across the board, because I don't want everything to be negative. That's the one thing I'm trying to avoid. It's easy to be negative. There's a lot to be negative about, but I want to do things that encourage people to discover sometimes older stuff, sometimes newer stuff, but things that are worthy, that I believe are worthy of your time to at least enjoy and watch, because there's a lot that's not worthy of your time. But, be careful in the world, there's so much that wants to suck your time away, and you don't want to lose all your time just doing that stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed my video. Please like and subscribe. If you have enjoyed my other material and enjoyed this video, hopefully you'll join me next time. Thank you and have an excellent day.